Everybody out there ready? Good evening. I'm David Assad, the chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the City of Fall River. It's 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 19th, 2020. We are meeting at One Government Center in the committee hearing room. This meeting is being conducted pursuant to Governor Baker's order superseding certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, dated March 12, 2020 at 8:40 p.m. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, subsection F, I hereby notify all persons in attendance that this meeting is being recorded with both video and audio devices. Our recording secretary this evening is Brittany Farrier, the lady to my right. She's recording an audio version, and Fall River Government TV, Alex Mello, is recording both the video and audio version. If anyone desires to make an audio, video, or combination recording thereof, please notify me now, and I shall make a public announcement of your intention. I don't think, Alex, that there's any prohibition or any notice that's showing up on anyone on the Zoom that they can't record. I know for the stuff on court, it says you can't record, but I don't think this has any disclaimer. Present this evening, albeit remotely, are permanent members John Frank III, James Corkin, Attorney Carolyn Morissette, Vice Chair Dan Dupere, alternate members Joe Pereira, and I think I see Ricky Sahadi out there. Brittany, have all petitions to be considered been properly advertised, and all interested parties notified in accordance with the rules and regulations of the Zoning Board of Appeals in Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A as amended?
Yes.
I declare the November 19th, 2020 scheduled meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the City of Fall River open for such business as shall regularly come before it. I remind all persons presenting before the board, including the petitioners, abutters, anyone in support or anyone opposed to the petition, that your presentation should be limited to 3 minutes. Questions and responses must be directed through the chairman. The board's rules and regulations direct the board to specifically look for information which supports the petitioner's claim. As such, the petitioner should identify and factually support the basis for the petition. I hereby advise the petitioners and all interested persons that this board is the Zoning Board of Appeals. This board's authority exists pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, and is limited in scope and deals with the use of land as regulated by Chapter 86 of the ordinances of the City of Fall River. Additional permits, licenses, reviews, and/or approvals may be required for specific development and/or use, which is the subject of the petition before the zoning board this evening. The clerks in the building, planning, engineering, and licensing departments are competent in the discharge of their duties as clerks. They are, however, not lawyers and are not competent to give legal advice. The action taken by this board has a real and lasting effect upon the title to your real estate. I urge all petitioners to seek competent legal counsel before filing your petitions and after a decision of the board has been made. For example, there is a city ordinance, 2015-11, Section 10-1 requiring site plan reviews. A copy of the ordinance is available at the city clerk's office or from the planning department. I remind everyone that the building inspector is the zoning enforcement authority, and you are here this evening because the building inspector has determined that your proposed action is contrary to the City of Fall River zoning ordinances. The city charter, Section 9-18, mandates that all multiple member bodies develop and adopt rules or policies for public comment. We have adopted such a policy, which in short provides for citizen input on zoning board specific matters at the end of this meeting. I disclose that an official copy of the Fall River zoning ordinance is available at the city clerk's office. One cannot rely on the online zoning ordinance. I also disclose that a new recodified edition approved by the planning board and city council in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, now with the grapefruit red cover, I don't know what other color to describe it as, is the official copy. Are there any questions before we begin this evening?
Mr. Chairman, you could also disclose that the city planner is here virtually.
The city planner, Mr. William Kenny, is also here in attendance virtually. During the course of each petition, I may ask the city planner for his input or any comments that may assist the board in determining what the project is about. Before I start with agenda item number 1, my understanding is for agenda item number 6, to which we have multiple letters of objection and a couple of, I think there are 2 in support. But Dan Aguirre, who's representing JH Holdings Group LLC, has notified the board or has requested that his particular matter be tabled until the February 2021 meeting. So if that would clear up the agenda a little bit, with many people out there waiting to hear this, I'll ask wherever Dan is to make his motion and see if the board wants to act on it by granting him leave to hear this particular petition in February, or if it's denied, go forward this evening at the end in his position as number 6.
And it's February 18th.
Pardon me?
18th,
Good evening.
18th of February.
18th, it's February 18th is the date of the February, well, you should know. The proposed meeting date in 2021 is going to be February 18th, so if anybody out there is marking their calendars. Go ahead, Dan.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. For the record, my name is Dan Aguirre. I'm Senior Project Manager at SciTech Engineering with addresses here in the city, as well as Dartmouth and Raynham, Massachusetts. With regards to the petition for JH Holdings Group LLC, Mariano Bishop Boulevard, we would respectfully request that the board allow us to table the matter until that February hearing date, so that I will have an opportunity to read through the numerous letters in opposition to see if we can clear up any of those items and address those on paper and plan prior to that hearing. I do understand that there is a fee required for the tabling. I do have that fee in hand and will deliver that tomorrow morning. And I have sent a previous email requesting that this matter be tabled.
Okay. Members of the board, that's Dan's motion and request. The board has the authority to grant the tabling, or it has the authority to deny it, and if we deny it, he has to go forward this evening or withdraw the petition. So, we won't take any evidence yet. This is just for that singular motion. If it's passed, then we can move on to agenda item number 1. If not, we'll hold it till the end of the meeting, not agenda item number 6. So, does any board member want to make a motion to grant permission to table this matter to February 18th, 2021?
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
I can, Jim Calkins is somewhere.
Okay, good, because at first it didn't. I move that we table this proposal number 6 until our February 18th meeting.
Okay? So Jim Calkins makes a motion to table this matter to February 18th, 2021. Do we have a second?
Second.
Who was that? I did.
I think John, but.
It was John Frank. Did you second that?
John, I think you're frozen.
I did, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I think the second was from John Frank. Any discussion on that motion?
Yes.
None? Okay. All those in favor? Jim Calkins?
Yes.
John Frank?
Yes.
Yes. Dan Dupere?
Yes.
Carolyn Morissette?
Yes.
Okay, Chairman Assad, yes. I don't think I missed anybody. I think that was a 5-member vote, right?
Got it.
So agenda item number 6 is off the agenda. Any of you out there who were here or wanted to participate in terms of opposing this, the next time this will be before the board, unless they withdraw it before then, will be February 18th, 2021. So,
You will receive another notice in the mail ahead of time notifying you that they are on the agenda for that date.
okay, so that takes care of agenda item number 6. We'll start with agenda item number 1 right now. 52 Ferry Street LLC, care of Mark Levin Esquire, 52 Ferry Street, Lot N, 14-1. This is a variance request to divide the parcel into 6 lots, waiving requirements in the WTOD district. And I think, before I start, I think all of you, all the board members have received the revised plan?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thanks for attending. And Brittany, my name is Attorney Mark L. Levin. Law office is at 138 Rock Street, Fall River, Massachusetts. I am representing 52 Ferry Street LLC, and their principal is part of the Zoom tonight. The property is a very large piece of property on the boundary of the Mount Hope Bay and Ferry Street. The property, as you see it, was purchased, and I know there was some question about the lot number on where it divides through one of the buildings. It was just how the deed was actually deeded out. They just kept it as two parcels all the time. It means nothing for zoning purposes. It was always one assessor's lot. What we need to do tonight is to divide up the parcel and for different purposes. The real variance, if you look at anything that needs a variance, is the two little pieces that you see in the detail. That is the parcels 5 and 6. Those parcels do not conform by cutting them out. They don't have proper area, don't have frontage or sidelines. What they are being done is these parcels are being given to the city of Fall River because the city of Fall River has the large sewer pumping station that runs that entire area, and it was determined sometime last year that the pumping station encroached on the Ferry Street property, and that they were at the point of now replacing that system, and obviously they can't encroach. They need to own property of their own to put the sewer system on. So my client is donating these two pieces to the city of Fall River so they can keep the pump station and replace their pump station in the future. He's also providing some temporary easements to them, but that's not part of the variance tonight. The other situation we have is really on lots 1 and 2, because all these lots otherwise have proper area and frontage, and they meet the zoning requirements under the WT program. Lots 1 and 2 have two buildings. They abut each other. The building on lot 1 was built in 1904. It's a brick type building. And the building behind it, the steel building, was built somewhere around 1945. But now that we're cutting up these things, and the reason is to give each of these parcels their own autonomy and their own tax bill, we don't have the sideline and setback requirements that we didn't need if we kept the parcels together, and we're not creating anything new. They are what they are. Those buildings have been there, one for almost 200 years and the other one more recently. But we need to have a variance and not just go with a Form A. I think that really comes down to it. The nice part about separating lot 1 out is that there is a tenant there who is looking to move because he wants to own his own property, and that will give them the ability to take title to this property and stay in Fall River for their business. Other than that, it's a very simple plan. We're not building anything new. We're not creating anything new with this plan. It's just chopping up the properties into separate lots and giving two pieces of property to the city of Fall River.
Parcels 4 and parcels 3, with the exception of the C detail, 5 and 6, that would be part of it, you make them conforming to the WTOD.
They are.
Right? Lot number 1 is...
It conforms, other
No,
than...
it conforms, but I'm just asking about the access to it. Are they using, where it looks like there's the existing pad, existing paved driveway?
Yes,
Is there gonna be an easement?
they have an
So
easement.
they're not having access from Ferry Street, they will still be accessing
Yes.
from this, it looks like 43.88 feet wide frontage that goes with Lot 2,
That's correct.
but there will be an easement to grant it to access to Lot 1.
Yeah, it's really trying to give them so they can have ownership
And there's
interest.
gonna be this potty wall between us, this firewall.
Well,
but
that exists now.
No, but that's gonna be the dividing line between,
That is correct.
okay.
It's just where the buildings were built. And again, back then, there was no zoning, so now we have a 10-foot setback. And
No, we got it, well, I got it. I don't- so that's the proposition. Any questions of the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
ahead.
I was just wondering, are we running into any of the issue that we had set up for legal opinion on creating non-conforming lots?
So, let me, I understand that Corporation Counsel is in the process of writing the opinion. After that last meeting, instead of going to church, I spent some time on Sunday thinking about this particular issue, and I spoke to Attorney Levin, just trying to help me get my way through it. And I am now of the opinion that the board has the authority that specific section, 86, section 34, subsection C, is just guidance for the ordinance, but the board has the authority under 86-482 that gives us the power to grant a variance if they meet the requirements of section 10, shape, topography, soil condition, or if there's a use condition. But that particular issue, at least for me, and I understand that Corporation Counsel is in agreement, and we're waiting for his letter or his opinion to bolster that. But I think we're all in agreement now that even though the words of that specific part of our ordinance says you shall not do something, it is something that the board would have the authority to deal with. So I guess going forward, I shouldn't say guess, going forward, you will not hear the chairman say the board doesn't have the authority to do it. The board has the authority to do whatever we want to do. Is that
Thank you.
a sufficient answer?
Very.
Thank you. So yes, we can do it if we want. All right, that's Jim. John, any questions? No? All right, Dan Dupere, you're somewhere.
Yeah.
Question? Carolyn?
No questions.
Joe, any input? Wherever you are?
Yeah, I'm here. Just, I think, I also spoke with the Corporation Counsel, and he is of that opinion. Basically, the local ordinance can't take away the opportunity that the state statute gives people to request, and can't take away the board's power to grant the variance in the appropriate case.
Okay. But I was asking Joe if he had a question, not Bill Kenny. I didn't get to you yet, Bill.
Thought you said Bill.
I'll try, could be the mask. I'll try to be more articulate. Joe, do you have any input that we need to hear from?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
You know, okay, yeah. I'm looking at him, I'm saying, it's Joe, okay. Is there anyone out there in favor of this petition? Is there anyone here opposed to this petition? Okay. Can I get a motion to grant? Can I get a motion to deny? Are there any conditions you want to talk about? Yeah, is that John Frank with his finger up?
Make a motion to grant.
Motion to grant, John Frank. Do I have a
Making
second?
motion to grant.
I got the motion to grant. Were there any conditions attached to it?
No, we don't have to make conditions for the easement, so no.
Okay. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Who is that? Jim Calkins?
Dan Dupree.
Dan Dupere, second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? John Frank? Oh, wait a minute, I saw a
Yes.
hand going up. Who? Wait, 1 minute, I saw,
Stretching.
oh, he was just stretching? I'm sorry, sir, okay. So John Frank, yes. Dan Dupere, yes?
Yes.
Yes? Jim Calkins?
Yes.
Carolyn Morissette?
Yes.
Chairman Assad, yes. That petition is granted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm here for 2 more, sorry, guys.
Agenda item number 2. John, Lucia, and Joshua Souza, care of Mark Levin Esquire, 3362 North Main Street, Lot X113. It's a special permit request pursuant to sections 86-428, 425, and 426 to reestablish non-conforming use of commercial building and to convert the commercial structure by changing its use and the interior to a two-family dwelling, waiving frontage, area, and side yard setbacks in the R4 district. Lot size 6,680 plus or minus square feet.
Again, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, and Brittany, Attorney Mark L. Levin, representing the petitioners, 138 Rock Street, Fall River, Massachusetts.
I think Alex gets they're seeing a front shot of you, just not your head.
Oh,
It's
I
not
thought
the
I had
back.
it turned.
I don't know, I think Alex is doing it that way, but that's fine, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, you can spin around if you want.
As
Yeah,
you can see by, okay, as you can see by the plan, when you look at it, it's a very odd-shaped property with an odd-shaped building, and this building had been used since 1997 as a veterinarian clinic. It was an animal hospital for Dr. Gadfor. Subsequently, when Dr. Gadfor retired, he sold the property to the Just Pass owner, who took it over and came before your board about a year and a half ago to convert that to a convenience store. There was a lot of, some opposition, where they were concerned of a lot of traffic, people coming up, not in parking around there, kids being there during the time that they were getting out of school in front of it, and would property, it could have caused an issue. They subsequently decided not to go forward, and my clients purchased this property recently. They bought it for their son, the three of them bought it for their son Joshua, who's one of the owners. What Joshua wants to do is to use the property for what the R4, where it's created, is as a two-family dwelling. Unfortunately, because where it exists on the ground and the shape of the property and the sideline setbacks that we have to deal with on Clark Street, we got a pre-existing building that we're not looking to tear down. So we're asking to reestablish the ability for that to stay as a pre-existing non-conforming use. And my feeling is that the use of this as a commercial property in this neighborhood, where it would have quite a bit more traffic, although they were able to carry on a business there before, would be suitable to change it back to a residential property that is in line with the R4 district, which is a two-family district. They provide for 5 different parking spaces. They have area for trash, and if you look at the back, because most of it's just all hardtop, they could probably put another 25 cars there if they really wanted to, but they're not. But basically, they just want to use it for what the zoning allows. We have, again, a very odd-shaped building, a very odd-shaped lot. It fronts on 2 different streets. The use that I believe from a commercial use to a residential use that conforms to the use requirements there is certainly palatable for this neighborhood, won't bring traffic, and it actually will be used. It'll be a place where someone lives there instead of, unfortunately, I'm told people congregate in the back right now because there's no one there on the property. So it's a vacant piece of property looking for an accident. So my client just want to be able to use it for 2 units. One of them will live, my client will live in one, and the other one he intends to rent.
So, if I understand it, we're formally abandoning the commercial use of the building.
Yes.
So that will go,
That's correct.
and we want no structural change to the building itself,
Not exterior, no.
and it will be used in a conforming use of a two-family dwelling.
That's correct. But I have the hardship of the not being able to conform to the
No,
sideline
I got
setback
that, but I mean,
requirements.
that's, so the special permit would be, so, it's just the.
Yeah, I'm not creating anything
No,
more
the
substantial.
two-step part. of
That's right.
Reestablishing the commercial, then abandoning it, and then doing,
That is correct.
that's what's before the board.
Yes.
Okay. And because it's a special permit, it's going to be determined, the board has to determine that such change shall not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure or use, but the structure is there, but it's really the use. And we're taking it from a non-conforming use if we grant the special permit for the commercial building, but immediately, as a condition, abandoning the commercial building and turning it into a residential two-family in the R4 district,
Which conforms to
which
what's
would be a
required.
conforming use. Okay. Members of the board, any questions? John Frank? Questions? No? Jim Corkins? Oh, yes?
No
Say
All right,
again,
you
John.
guys-
You keep cutting out after your first word.
Sorry. Any additions, constructions, second floor, anything like that?
No, only interior partitions and getting rid of the medical facility uses inside.
That's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Jim Corkins?
No,
Dan Dupere?
No questions.
Carolyn?
No questions.
Joe?
The only question I have is in regard to the parking. You're changing it so that it's actually going to be parallel to the street. Looking at a photograph of the building, right now it's just pull-in parking, back-out parking. Any particular reason for that change?
They were just showing parking spaces. The entire back of the building is all hardtop. They're probably gonna park there, but we wanted to show legally that we at least had,
4 parking spaces.
5 parking spaces on the property.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Council.
Is Ricky there? Is that Ricky? Rick, I don't have the name on the, Rick, any questions, Ricky? I didn't mean to exclude you. No? Director of Planning, Mr. Kenny, anything we should think about or know that we've not paid attention to?
No, I think you've covered it.
Okay. Is there anyone out there in favor of this petition? Is there anyone there opposed to this petition? Okay, can I get a motion to grant? Can I get a motion to deny?
don't we have to decide first that we find it,
Okay.
and I move that
We
we
do,
find
we
it
do.
not
We have to have-
substantially.
It's not more detrimental than the existing,
Right. I find that it is not more, or substantially more detrimental than the current use, and
okay? So, number one, Jim Corkins properly reminded that that has to be the finding of the board. So do we find that it's substantially not more detrimental to the neighborhood than the current use?
I'll second.
Second, is that Dan
Second.
Dupere, yes?
Yes.
Okay, Jim Corkins, Dan Dupere, second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? John, yes?
Aye.
Dan Dupere, yes?
Yes.
Jim Corkins, yes?
yes.
Carolyn Morissette?
Yes.
Chairman Assad, yes, okay. Now that we've got that, do we have a motion to grant?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant permission, or to revert back to the commercial zoning.
That the residential, that it be used for residential purposes and abandon the commercial use.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes, that's your motion?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll second.
Second, was that Dan Dupere?
Yes.
Dan Dupere, second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Jim Corkins?
yes.
Dan Dupere?
Yes.
John Frank?
Yes.
Carolyn Morissette?
Yes.
Assad, yes. Okay. That petition is granted with that condition that the commercial use be abandoned. Okay. Agenda item number 3.
Thank you.
Yes, did somebody say something?
I said thank you.
Oh. Agenda item number 3. Seth Lewis, care of Mark Levin Esquire, 766, 768 New Boston Road, Lot P8, 198. A special permit request pursuant to Section 86, 428, 425, to reestablish the non-conforming commercial use and convert use to a locksmith shop, waiving requirements in the S District.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Brittany, Attorney Mark L. Levin, 138 Rock Street, Fall River, Mass., representing Seth Lewis, the owner of the property. Mr. Lewis also owns the property at P8111, which is where any parking would be used if necessary. Back in 1960, the property here in question was converted to a laundromat and had been used as a laundromat for many years. And in fact, back in June of 2009, this board allowed the then owner at that time, not my client, to expand and construct an addition to the laundromat, and that was granted and that was done. My client bought the property, and subsequently the laundromat found that they had difficulty with parking and the ability of people coming there. Hours were somewhere around 8 in the morning till about 9 at night. My client now wants to reestablish the commercial use because it's designed as a commercial building. It's really an open layout of the property in a building. It's on an extremely small portion of land and has been used commercially since 1960. What he doesn't want to do is have a high-use business, as the laundromat was, where they had dryers and washers all around it, when people could come in there and they parked on the street. He wants to now rent it to a locksmith. The gentleman's a single-person owner of his own business. He will occupy that premises. Generally, he's looking, because he lives in a residential district, he knows he can't legally operate a business, keep trucks, keep equipment on his property, so he needs a legal address to operate a commercial business. So this was a perfect little venue for him because it's very small. He will have on the back of the property the right to park his vehicle. He's got one truck in a garage. He will have deliveries that will come through the back of Charlotte Street into the back of the property where there is an entrance in the back of that, what was a commercial building. Generally, his hours are from 9 to 4, and he will only be there approximately 1 or 2 hours a day. He intends, like most locksmiths do, they go out on the road, they deliver and install lock keys, lock sets in properties, deliver safes to different places and have them installed. But he's looking for a physical place so he can get his mail and operate it and not be legally doing it out of his home, which he doesn't do. He operates somewhere else, but he wants to move to Fall River. So my position is that the use of a laundromat to a locksmith who is running it by himself is certainly substantially less negative to the neighborhood as the prior use had been with a very large laundromat. We did get a concern with one of the neighbors, Mr. Ouellette, I believe his name was, and my client did speak to him because he let him know that the parking is going to be very limited. In fact, my client already talked to Glenn Hathaway about a 15-minute parking spot sign in front of the building, but they really don't expect to have much foot traffic at all. His business is out installing elsewhere. We'll have parking in the back if a customer comes, and my client has agreed that he will put signage on the side of Mr. Ouellette, I think his name was. Let me get his name properly. I don't have the sheet. But on that side of the property to the west of my client's property is going to put signage up on the wall that will say no trespassing, private property, not part of commercial business. And it's going to have a sign on the building directing parking to the back of his property on Charlotte Street for the perhaps that one or two people a week do come to his business when he is in the shop. I think the use, you have a very odd-shaped piece of land, you have a very odd-shaped building. It's certainly not a physical use for anything without complete destruction and rebuilding, and then you wouldn't be able to do that because you'd have to get a variance to do that. We have a different size lot that's different than everyone else in the neighborhood. The physical structure of that lends itself to really just using it for commercial purposes because that's all it's been designed for. Again, it's another hollow type use where there had been washers and dryers and counters. And I believe that the use to a locksmith from what had been a high concentrated business with a lot of traffic coming in to a business that may have one or two cars a week is certainly less detrimental to the neighborhood than it would be if we were to reestablish some other type of high-density business or the laundromat again. Thank you.
Mark, can you show me on the plan or where the access from Charlotte Street is to get there?
Yeah. It's right here. That's all his property, so we just drive in and it's all.
Oh, so this parking,
It's all property. My client owns everything. And this is the laundromat and the garage that the new tenant will get to use. And.
so wait, this particular lot, this building isn't standalone, it's this and the three-family and the parking?
Well, they're separate assessors' properties. The assessor keeps them separate, but my client owns it all and is using it as a package.
He's using it as a package?
Yes.
But this particular lot, on a standalone basis, is this lot by itself?
Believe it or not, I don't know why they have not eliminated the boundaries, but it's all on one deed. Somehow, over the years,
Okay.
I didn't do the title, so over the years, they became mutual owned I think since 1960. But the assessor's never broken out the thing, but we're looking at that as a package. And the garage has always been used by the laundromat people.
No, I got it. So it's the same, so it's not the standalone lot of P8 198?
No,
It's a combination, P8 111, P8 198?
right, because the parking will be on lot 11, or 111.
Yeah, so really, okay, I got it. Members of the board, questions? Okay, so, yeah, go ahead, Joe.
So my question is that the parking that's behind the house at the corner of Charlotte and New Boston Road, the parking that's there currently is for the three-family, correct?
Well, it's also been used for the laundromat too, in the past.
And that has not presented a problem in the
No.
past?
No, they've never had an issue.
Oh.
But the issue was with the other person was people would park on the west side of New Boston Road in the neighbor's parking lot.
Right.
That's what the issue was. They thought it was part of the laundromat because it's just there. But we're gonna put signage up to make sure that no one interferes with that use.
And the only other question I have, and it's more of a curiosity, there are 2 meters and 2 weatherheads on the side of the former laundromat building. Was that 2 separate uses at one point in time?
Not, well, actually, if you look in the back history of zoning, there had been, I don't know what else was there. There was another commercial
Grocery
use.
store.
A grocery store that had been, I think the laundromat was in the back and the grocery store was in front. That's what it was.
All right.
But then it just became a laundromat for many years. And then, again, my client just wants to establish a
A single business.
single business user.
Single business, but it's in an S district, single-family residential district. You have this pre-existing, non-conforming three-family dwelling that's there. And I'm thinking based on, anyway, I'll be quiet. Go ahead, members of the board. More questions? Jim Corkins?
None.
John Frank?
None.
Carolyn?
How long ago was the building used as a laundromat? How long has it not been used that way?
I think it's only been 2 years.
2 years.
Okay. Dan Dupere? I didn't mean to,
Yeah, the building
Jump over
inspector
you.
looked up the records, and he says, you just missed it. He said you could have just gone in for a special permit without reestablishing, but he said, I think he missed it by a couple months.
Dan, did you have any questions about it?
Yeah, how many parking spots are available on the premises?
Well, see, that raises the
Garage
question
has 4.
about on the premises, because really it's a combination
Yeah,
of the two lots before the board. So we're changing some of that pre-existing, non-conforming three-family dwelling, some of the land associated with that, for this commercial use. And I don't know whether it was, I don't,
well, there's a 3-car garage there, and they're showing, 6 other cars that could be there. I mean, again, my guy, the guy that's gonna rent is only gonna have a truck, and he's gonna put his car in the truck, in the garage. So the rest of it's really just available for the 3-family, and, I mean, it's gonna be a daytime business, so most of those people will probably not be home most of the time. And like I said, if my client thinks, or the locksmith told us that you may have 1 or 2 people a week that shows up, I think it's pretty adequate that there's plenty of room to have 1 or 2 people come.
but your petition has P8 198 as a standalone lot.
Yeah, I didn't prepare it, but yes, it was.
No,
yeah.
here's my concern.
It was
Let me tell you
No, I
procedurally.
understand.
I've got the singular lot that exists, that you can sell off tomorrow, that hasn't merged, it's whatever. And we're using this other lot to say, I'm gonna have parking here and parking there. If we reestablish the laundromat, we're still dealing with parking, but the guy now says, I'm gonna sell the laundromat piece off, the locksmith is gonna get that commercial building.
I don't think for zoning you can, because they were, I think they at some point became together, but maybe not because of separate building. So you can
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
because
but
it's
you
a separate
just
building.
just make the condition that parking be available on that other lot. He owns it, so we can do that. I didn't prepare this,
No,
unfortunately.
no, Mark, I'm not
But-
picking on you,
I
I'm just
know.
procedurally trying to work my way through
No.
dealing with the singular lot, and now I've got this 3-family pre-existing non-conforming, and I'm using land that goes with that for this particular,
Yeah. At best, it's probably gonna be the truck that goes into the garage. And again, my doubt is that, one person will come at one time, and, like he said, he doesn't expect more than a couple people a week to come there, because he's not planning to be there himself,
so it's not gonna be a showroom.
no. He's gonna have storage in there, he's gonna have his equipment in there, he's gonna have a place for mail, that's.
His
what he's-
office.
Yeah, his office, that's all. He just doesn't wanna do it where he lives now in a residential district and carry on a business and get himself in trouble, so he looked for
Okay.
a place, and this just happened to be a perfect place, because it's small enough for him to rent and keep his equipment in there.
Okay. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, just point of order, can we condition the parking onto this separate lot that could be sold someday, and does it?
The representation by attorney, that's kind of where I'm going with the
Yes.
condition. Attorney Levin is making the representation that Seth Lewis owns both parcels.
Today?
He does.
Today. So a variance that, or a special permit with conditions being that affect the 3-family dwelling would get recorded, that would affect the 3-family dwelling.
And the deed has both.
So I think we can make lots of conditions.
Yeah.
I envision somewhere down the road, the singular lot that says it's a commercial use, we're doing this in this S district, and then I've got the titles to the singular lot, to the 3-family split, and now we've got a problem. But can the board grant conditions? Can we grant it with conditions? I think we can make lots of conditions.
Yeah, it's all, just so you know, the deed for the two pieces is all on one deed that he bought it. I mean, that's how he bought it, and that's how it's been, actually, it's been that way since 1960. They've always been the same owner when they started the commercial business then, the laundromat then.
Yeah, see, this, Mr. Lewis bought it, according to this, in June of 2018.
Yes. And that's when he stopped using it, and that's why he just lost the 2 years.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be simple.
Yeah, so,
Another question.
go ahead. Dan?
Yeah, you said hours of operation are from 9 to 4. Is that just Monday through Friday, closed on the weekends?
I think he's open Saturday mornings to do his work in the place.
So what were those hours?
So give me the hours. Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, Saturday, what to what?
I assume 9 to 12.
Okay. Saturday, 9 to 12. 9 to 12, Dan, Saturday. Closed on Sundays.
Thank you.
I mean, he physically may go in there and work, but he won't have the doors open for the public.
So there will be public. It's not just a warehouse and a.
Well, that's
and
what
his
he
office.
wants, but we're just saying, let's say someone wants to come in, he calls up, I have a lock set, I want to pick it up. So someone could drive up and pick it up. But he's not intending to do this as a storefront, because he's going to be on the road most of the time.
Okay.
But if I wanted to buy, like, you know, instead of going to Home Depot, I want to buy a lock set because I live in that area, I don't want to drive to Somerset, you could call him if he's in. I have a lock set here, they could come in, buy it, and leave.
I got it. Well, I got it. Let's see what the, okay. Any other questions of the board? Is there anyone here, anyone here in favor of this petition out there? Is there anyone opposed? Yes, I hear somebody.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patrick Higgins. I got a whole bunch of questions on this one.
Go ahead, Patrick.
All right, so I lost the key to my trunk. I lost the key to my car. I have it towed into this locksmith shop. It's gonna sit in the lot for 2 or 3 days till he gets a chance to, because he's not having office hours. So the car's gonna sit there 2, 3, 4 days until he gets a chance to take the ignition apart and rekey the lock and change the doors, whatever. The other question I have is you're talking about P8111 or something like that, and the agenda item only says that this one lot,
P8198.
You're talking about some other lot which is not noticed and is not on the under the open meeting law, it's not on the agenda, and apparently it's not on the petition as well, so.
Well,
have some
I was
problems
gonna
with
get
that.
to the 766, 768, whether those are the two addresses on it.
Yes.
That's,
And then the other question I have is, so I lost the key to my apartment door on a Sunday, and I call him up and I say, hey, I lost the key to my lock to my house. Can I bring it to your office and you make a key for it? But
He won't
the
answer
zoning board says they're closed on Sunday. So now what do I do?
Go up to Home Depot.
I want to rekey the lock, attorney, not buy a new one.
no, I got it, but if
They do keys at Home Depot. I used to go there all the time to buy
They don't
keys.
rekey locks if you don't have a key, sir.
He's got his hand up.
who's that?
Dr. Klein.
Hi, my
Wait,
name
wait,
is
wait,
Mike.
one at a time. So let Mr. Higgins finish what, Patrick, are you done?
So like I said, you know, I had a locksmith shop in Newport, Rhode Island, and I did the same thing that he's talking about doing. Just basically, you know, if you catch me there, you can make a key, and it doesn't work well. But I wish this guy the best of luck. But as far as, you know, like I said, the notice on the open meeting law only talks about lot P8198. And if they're talking about a 3-bedroom house or a 3-story house, that's not on the agenda, so I would object to discussing that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Patrick. So, the next person, yes, sir, you at the, I don't know whether you've got the same screen I do on top, but the man with the glasses and the white beard.
Yes, I'm Kevin Quintel. Can you hear me?
Kevin, yes, Kevin, you wrote 2 letters to the board. I was gonna read those in, but you're here in person. So go ahead,
sir.
let's listen to you.
First of all, my name is Kevin Quintel. I live on 752 New Boston Road. I own the house that's right on the side of the future locksmith.
Okay?
2 things I'd like like to clarify, please, as far as the laundromat, I've been living here for 25 years. As far as the laundromat goes, it was a commercial laundromat. It's not as we know it as a laundromat where people would go in and wash and dry clothes.
Not a coin op, it was a regular laundry.
It was a commercial, for commercial use, yes.
Yes.
And I can't tell you how many times where we come home and there'd be people parked in our driveway, we ask them to move, they would fight with us, swear at us, tell us to wait a minute, they want to go in for a minute to pick up some stuff. If you're familiar with New Boston Road is very, very congested at certain times of the days. Number one, you got Charlton Memorial Hospital right up the street. 99% of the times, I can't tell you how many ambulances come by. When you got the schools that are in normal conditions, the traffic is very, very heavy. It's very dangerous to actually park in front of that future locksmith. As far as the parking goes, I sent you over some photos to Brittany on February 16th.
Can you see me,
We had
can you see me,
arranged-
Mr. Quintel? Yes, we all have them, and it was distributed to all the board members.
Thank you. Okay. I have no, I mean, I don't try to keep someone from being in business, but I've lived this before with this parking over here. It's very confusing. If you're coming west up New Boston Road, you're gonna drive right past Charlotte Street because there's a 3-deck around the corner which belongs to this Mr. Lewis. And then it's the laundromat, what I call the laundromat, is there. So you miss it right over. Mr. Lewis reached out to me on Thursday after I first sent you my first email, my concern. Mr. Lewis was gonna meet with me on Sunday. He asked me if I could be available for 2:30. I stood around and waited for Mr. Lewis to 2:30. He texted me at 2:50 saying that he's gonna be running late, and I had other commitments, unfortunately, I couldn't be there. But I think the pictures will show it, tells the whole story of my situation and my concerns that I have. Would I like to see something happen to that building? Absolutely. The building's falling apart, and I pick up pieces off my driveway. You can see in the photos where it's coming apart on the side. I'm not objected to anybody to be in business, but I can't deal with the situation with parking. And I was also told that they will be open because they'd be making keys sometimes. There'd be some, to make keys and stuff like that. And they did mention about putting a 15-minute parking in front of the building. But believe me, if somebody has a study on New Boston Road, it's like a death zone sometimes. It's just trying to back your car up. Never mind trying to open a door and going into heavy traffic and almost getting killed. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Quintel. Thank you. Anyone else opposed to this petition? Yes, sir, the man next to him.
Hi, my name is Mike.
Hi, Mike.
I just started my locksmith business about 3 months ago.
Mike, can we have a name, please, name and address?
Sure, my name is Michael Dusal and my company is MD Lock and Safe.
Okay, did we get an address? Did I miss the address?
Oh, I'm sorry. I run it out of my house right now. It's 96 Concord Street. I'm going to be using this address basically to store my equipment and mostly my product, my keys, my locks. Right now, I don't have enough room at my house. I'm, getting more and more stuff. Basically, I am a mobile locksmith, so I will be out on the road most of the time. There will be occasions where a customer might want to bring in a car or an ignition for me to be able to rebuild it or repair it. So, but normally it's a quick fix, an hour, 2 hours, and then the customer's gone. So it's not something that's going to be staying overnight in the parking lot. So basically that's what I just wanted to say on this issue.
He's the tenant.
Yes, that's correct.
That's,
I have a question.
yeah, yes, sir, 1 minute, I'll get back to you, Mr. Quintel. Mike, is there anything else?
Nope, that's that.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, yes, Mr. Quintel.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Kevin, yeah.
As you can see, the photo that I sent you on Monday, when you have rain, the whole back parking lot where I understand when Mike's gonna be doing some work, floods out, where would these people be parking?
No, I got it, okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else opposed to this petition? All right, Director of Planning, Mr. Kenny, do you have any input on this particular project? I think
I
that's
just
you.
had a question from Mr. Levin. Is this site near the self-service gas station
Across
on
the
the
street.
corner of Oak Grove and New Boston Road?
Yes.
It's
Little
not
like
far,
diagonally-
yes, it's not far from
Diagonally
there.
across from that, yeah. And across the street from that is where Ed Mignolt had his insurance and real estate office?
Down
Yes.
further.
Down, yeah, that was down the other side.
That was at the intersection of New Boston Road and Oak Grove Avenue. This is
Right.
up further, Charlotte Street.
I think the thing that concerned me is the parking. If you're thinking of parking on New Boston Road, I think it's kind of sketchy. It is busy, as Kevin said, and if there are other spots in that neighborhood where you can park on the street, that would redeem it, but I wouldn't advise anybody particularly to be parking on New Boston Road in that section.
No, that's why there's gonna be signage to direct them to the Charlotte behind the building. Because that's where there is plenty of parking there, and again, Mike will be using the garage. He's got a 3-stall garage for his own use. And those will be used if people have to pull in for any work during the rain. And then there's parking available on the lot. It's a lot of parking area. So we don't expect, like, again, as the tenant said, he's a mobile locksmith. It's only gonna be occasional that someone will call up, make an appointment to pick up something, or do a key, or bring a car in while he's there, because he's not intended to be on the property very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, okay. Is there anyone else that would like to be heard on this petition? All right, so what's before the board is a special permit request pursuant to 86-428 and 425 to reestablish the non-conforming commercial use and convert the use, a change of the use from that laundromat to a locksmith shop, waiving the requirements in the S single-family district. So Jim Corkins, once again, is correct. We need to have the determination that such change or extension shall not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing nonconformity. So I don't know whether or not someone wants to make that motion or makes the motion that says it is substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, and that'll be the end of the hearing.
I'll make the motion that it is not more detrimental.
It is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing. So we bring it back to the commercial laundry, and then we'll change the use. Is that what you're saying, John?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So John Frank makes the motion that that it will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
All right, so John Frank made the motion, Jim Corkins second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, okay, all those in favor of that motion? John Frank, yes?
Yes.
Jim Corkins, yes?
Yes.
Dan Dupea?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes,
Chairman Assad, no. Okay, so 4-1, that change happens. Now, let's have a motion to grant, if you want, grant the special permit so we reestablish the laundromat now to change the use to a locksmith shop. And those things, if we're going to grant, hours of operation should be considered, and the parking, if we want to add those conditions, we can certainly add those conditions. So does somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
John Frank makes the motion to grant, with conditions being hours of operation 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, Saturday 9 to 12. Use of the parking lot at, whatever it is, P8 111 that's shown on the plan, the parking.
I'd also like to have adequate signage on both sides of the building.
Yes.
The the neighbor's side of the building in the parking lot stating that it's not his lot, and then in the front of the building stating that no parking on New Boston Road, park in the back of the building.
Okay?
Unless you get something resolved with the city to get a 15-minute parking, but I highly doubt it on that area on New Boston Road.
All right, so
That's
signage is a
fine.
condition of your motion,
Yes,
correct? Okay? That's it. Anything else?
no.
Okay? Do we have a second on John's motion?
I'll second it.
Second, Jim Corkins. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? John Frank?
Yes.
Jim Corkins?
Yes.
Dan Dupere?
Yes.
Yes. Attorney Carolyn Morissette?
Yes.
Chairman Assad goes along with it, yes, okay, so that's the grant of the special permit. And, well, we don't have to, it's a 2-year grant anyway. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, could you
Yo,
give
I
me that
hear.
other lot number?
pardon me?
Could you give me that other lot number, for the, you said P
Yes,
198
so,
and something, what's
P-
the other lot number, 211?
111. 111, Patrick.
P8 111?
P8111.
Thank you.
But what Attorney Levin said, it's 766, 768 New Boston Road.
Both buildings.
Which is both buildings. Because that was what, Patrick, that's what I was concerned about initially, that it was only advertised as P8198, except the address was 766, 768, and when you triangulate it that way, you end up with the entire lot, P8198 and P8111.
And the special permit is only in this
Yeah,
building.
no, I just wanted, whatever,
Yes, you're
everything
right.
keeps changing. It's like Hollywood Squares. So that's what I wanted to make sure that was what I was concerned about, and that got satisfied by Attorney Levin telling me that.
Well, when I
Okay.
looked at that building, there was 2 doors to that commercial building, and I'm not sure that those 2 doors are not 766 and 768, and that house being a different number. I couldn't find any numbers on the
No.
building when I went by. But
Do you want me to
that's
put
okay.
him under oath? No, it's fine.
They have an address for each. They did have 2 uses
All
in
right,
that
thank you.
commercial building before.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, agenda item number,
Thank you.
you're welcome, Mom.
Have a good holiday.
Agenda item number 4, 596 Bay Street, Lot H624. This is a variance request to construct a single-family dwelling on discontinued portion of Center Street, waiving dimensional requirements in the CMD Commercial Mill District, lot size 6,333 plus or minus square feet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Madam Clerk. For the record, my name is Arthur Frank. I'm a lawyer with an address of 209 Bedford Street, Fall River, Massachusetts, and I represent your petitioner, Joseph Maderas. This request, in essence, is a request by Mr. Maderas for you to reissue a variance that you granted to his predecessor in July of 2018. The history of this lot is that it was first brought to this board with other lots that the original developer, Beacon Trust, had purchased from Duro Industries. He had bought all of the Duro industrial campus, and in September of 2017, he came before this board with me, and we asked permission to create lots, and also there was going to be some land deeded to the city of Fall River, which was for their watershed. The problem with this specific lot was it was relying upon the city to discontinue a portion of Center Street, which wasn't yet accomplished in September of 2017. So this board allowed me to withdraw that specific lot, and then the board voted to grant the relief requested for all of the other lots that the developer was going to develop. Fast forward to May of 2018. The city finally discontinues Center Street, and I appear before this board in July of that year, reminding the board that this lot is the remaining portion of land in the area where the ZBA granted relief. It's a former paper street. The street has been discontinued, and petitioner wishes to conform the lot similar to the surrounding parcels. We have abided by all of the conditions in the original variance and request the same finding now enter for that last remaining parcel. That petition passed unanimously. The developer then, in March of 2019, sells Mr. Maderis the lot. I don't know what Mr. Maderis understood about exercising the rights contained in the July 2018 variance, but I will say that most laypersons don't really understand what that means to exercise the rights granted therein. The courts over the last few years have tried to assist the legal community with what they think an exercise of a variance is, but to the best of my knowledge, it got recorded, but I don't know if Mr. Maderis was able to take any other steps to allow the building inspector to feel that the variance had been exercised. So we're here tonight asking this board to reissue that variance. Nothing has changed, both with the lot or with the surrounding property, with the exception that other houses have been built there, and we ask your indulgence on this.
Tell me, Center Street has officially been abandoned by the city?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have a copy with me. I have a copy that was given to us by the city. The plan got recorded. I have a recorded copy, Mr. Chairman, which I will hand to your clerk so you can review it. And the discontinuance plan was recorded. It's referred to in Mr. Maderis's deed. The plan was recorded in Plan Book 161, page 61, and it is entitled Discontinuance of a Portion of Center Street, Fall River, Massachusetts, prepared for South Beacon Community Development Trust. So the discontinuance plan was recorded. The discontinuance order by the City of Fall River's mayor and city council was recorded. The variance was recorded. It's just that there was a...
Am I reading this right? The whole house, the whole lot is in Center Street?
The developer, the original developer, owned all the land on both sides. And what he did
And
was...
this is the land that he conveyed to the city of Fall River?
No. He conveyed two larger tracts where the river, where the stream is.
No, but as I'm looking at the plan, on either side of Center Street, it says now or formerly the city of Fall River. If I look at this plan, it says now or formerly the city of Fall River, now or formerly the city of Fall River, up here. This, so that's all I'm asking. So this whole thing was Center Street. Center Street gets abandoned. This lot.
Just that parcel,
This piece.
highlighted, that's correct.
So this piece was abandoned by the city of...
Correct.
So now, he owned this, Beacon, whoever, Jamie owned this, so
Correct.
he ends up now owning on both sides, and this is the lot that he created.
Correct.
So now, this, by abandonment of it, and owning on both sides of it, he ends up with this lot.
Correct.
So it has nothing to do with the remaining part of Center Street, it's only the part that was this lot.
That's correct, it's the 6,600
I
square
got
feet.
it. Okay. So now it's abandoned, predecessor in title ends up with it, estoppel by deed, now Mr. Maderis has got it, and, okay.
Now he's got it, and
No, it's okay, go ahead.
and he obviously doesn't,
So what does the building inspector need?
I think.
When you say acting on the variance?
I think what they're saying is that the variance wasn't exercised in a year from the grant, because the grant was July of 2018, that by 2019.
Is this house built or no?
I don't believe it is. I think
Okay,
that's why we're
okay,
here.
so he needs the variance so he can build the house?
He needs the reissuance of the variance so he
To
can build a house.
I got it, so the house doesn't exist, it wasn't like it was built in the middle of the street?
I think that's correct, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if he.
No, that's clear, that's fine.
And I think his misunderstanding may have been, when do you count the 1 year to exercise the variance? And again, I think most lay people don't understand that terminology.
No, okay, I got it.
Right, that's it in a nutshell.
Let's make sure the board has got it too. I'm sorry for talking so much, members of the board. Is there any questions of the board? Is there anything you need to hear further on this? Dan? No? John Frank? I think that's you up there. Jim Calkins?
No, I couldn't even figure out which lot it was when I drove by.
Okay. Carolyn?
No,
Joe? No? Ricky? Director of Planning, Mr. Kenny, is there anything we should know about this particular? Puzzle?
I had a thought, certainly you should make sure that the referral to site plan review is a condition. I don't know what the original.
That was, Mr. Kenny, in the original, and we're agreeable to the same conditions that was found in the.
Do you want me to read the conditions, Bill?
If you don't mind.
I don't. So, in the matter of build a single-family home waiving dimensional requirements and setback requirements in the CMD district. In a motion made by Mr. Brilliant and seconded by Mr. Dupere, the board unanimously voted 5-0 to grant the petition with the conditions being: no site preparation work shall be commenced prior to approval of the site plan by the Site Plan Review Committee. No building permit shall be issued prior to approval of the site plan by the Site Plan Review Committee. Mr. Brilliant, Mr. Dupere, Mrs. Corkins, Mr. Saber, and Ms. Morissette voted in favor of the motion. Mr. Assad abstained from this matter. Those were the conditions. That's what happened on July 19, 2018.
Could I ask Mr. Frank, has any site work commenced at the site?
It's just a cleared lot like the rest of them. They built every house.
It was the other Mr. Frank, Attorney Frank.
Oh, sorry, there's too many of us.
Sorry, the attorney, Frank.
I can tell you that I live right there, so I know it's not built.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
but no
because
site work is ongoing at this point?
Mr. Maderis is actually in on the Zoom conference if you need to ask him specific questions about construction or.
Well, the question is, as we sit here tonight, has any site work been commenced, or is any site work ongoing at this point in time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Mr. Maderis, if you're out there,
Mr. Maderis.
I'll leave it to your attorney to see whether or not he wants you to answer, but if you're out there, I don't see him out there.
He was there.
He was there because I talked to him on the break and,
Okay.
and he was.
So your representation is no, nothing has
I'm
happened
not
out
aware of
there.
any site work and I think.
Board member John Frank says nothing's happened out there.
Well, if John Frank says it, it must be true, so.
No, well, at least there's a set of eyes, that was out there looking at it. I quite frankly couldn't find it when I was looking, but
It's
what do I know?
been empty for a long time. They cleared all the lots, but they didn't build anything on this particular site. That's been left empty. All the other houses are up and done,
Except for this one.
except for this
Yeah,
one.
yeah. The only other question I would have, I know that most of the lots in that stretch along Bay Street had to go through the Conservation Commission, wetlands being in the back. And does Mr. Frank know, Attorney Frank, know, or either Mr. Frank, know whether this lot is against wetlands in the rear?
I do not. Obviously, if a notice of intent needs to be filed, I will so inform the client.
Do you want me to read my opening statement again? This is the Zoning Board of Appeals, and there's other
No, I
boards.
think I remember hearing that, actually, yeah.
So there may be other, I am very concerned, and I want to make sure that it's clearly stated that this board is the Zoning Board of Appeals, and we've got no authority over Center Street if it wasn't done properly. We're not granting the discontinuance of it if it hasn't been done properly. So if the board's going to grant, we can grant the right to do it, but they have to make sure that all the other requirements are met, and all the other
Of course.
boards are.
Sorry, Mr.
Okay.
Maderis is back on.
So who's back on?
Mr. Maderis.
Oh, okay. All right. Is there anyone here all right, so all the board members have had an opportunity to ask any questions. Bill Kenny has given us his opinion as to what's going on. Arthur's answered, Attorney Frank has answered everyone's question. Is there any other questions before I ask who's in favor and who's opposed? Is there anyone here in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed to this petition? Okay. Can I get a motion to grant? Can I get a motion to deny? What do you want to do?
I'll make a motion to grant.
Who's that, John? No,
Yeah.
Dan? Dan Dupere, motion to grant. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Jim Corkins. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Dan Dupere,
Yes.
John Frank,
Yes.
Jim Corkins,
Yes.
Carolyn Morissette,
Yes.
Attorney Assad, yes. Okay. So that petition is granted with the same
Mr. Chairman,
conditions.
could I ask just for clarification, was
Yep.
it the intention of the motion to include the site plan paragraphs?
Same thing, same conditions. No
Okay.
site preparation work shall be commenced prior to approval of the site plan by the Site Plan Review Committee. No building permit shall be issued prior to approval of the site plan by the Site Plan Review Committee.
Thank you.
Those were the two conditions that was in the original one, and the same that Attorney Frank said were acceptable in this one. No change.
Got it.
That's correct.
Okay?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so that takes care of agenda item number 4. Agenda item number 5, Divine Development LLC. Are we ready? Number 5, Divine Development LLC, 33 to 35 Bond Street and 524 Eastern Avenue, Lot K 1927. Special permit request pursuant to Section 86-423 subsection B to subdivide the existing parcel into 3 lots, leaving an existing residential structure on each in the G General District. Proposed lot size, 3,217 plus or minus square feet. Lot 2, 4,092 plus or minus square feet. Lot 3, 2,101 plus or minus square feet. I think this is Dan Aguirre, maybe?
It is, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Again, for the record, Dan Aguirre, SciTech Engineering, here this evening on behalf of Divine Properties LLC with regards to this application before you for a special permit under Section 86-423B. As you all know, that provision in the zoning bylaw allows for the subdivision of a parcel that has multiple dwellings continuously existing prior to 1954. So this property is located just east of Eastern Avenue off of Barnes Street on the south side of Barnes, and it does contain 4 structures, 3 of them being dwellings, and there is also an existing garage on the property as well. It is comprised of map K19 lot 27. It does fall in the G district, requiring 5,000 square feet and 50 feet of frontage. So again, under 86-423, what we did is we went out and we surveyed the property, looked at a number of scenarios of the best way to carve this up. And then what we found was, just basically following how the properties are being used was the best indicator for the direction that we went in for subdividing. So we will be subdividing this property into 3. You'll see what we've done is we've created a square parcel around 3, contains the dwelling, 2-family dwelling numbers 35 through 37. And I apologize, the share button on Zoom is, for some reason, is not allowed, so I can't share the plan with you, but I do think you all have one. And then continuing westerly, we would be creating parcel number 2, which would house the existing 3-family and the existing garage. That would be on a parcel with 66 feet of frontage. And the real crux of this was how we were going to deal with the building at 524, which is to the rear, a 2-family dwelling, but we were lucky to have enough accessible frontage and lawn area to wrap some frontage and a normal width back down to Barnes Street to provide it its own access if need be, and some room to run the utilities, because as in most of these petitions, the separation of the utilities will be required. So we will be able to accommodate all of those items. Normally in a situation like this, there will be a condition of no fences, so that way any type of emergency access is wide open for the fire department and to get in between all of these buildings. And other than that, it's a rather straightforward application, but if you have any specific questions, I'd be more than glad to answer any of them.
How did the
Thank you.
existing 2-family in parcel number 1 get a street address of 524 Eastern Avenue?
I'm guessing,
Do you know?
I'm guessing, well, no, I don't know because I couldn't find it. But what I'm thinking is, the only thing that would make sense to me was that 524 was either part of K1942 or K1926. which would be 528 and 518.
Oh,
But
that's
I
what
could find nothing
That's
that
what I
was
was
ever
looking
under
for.
that same deed.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought maybe I missed it and you knew it. I couldn't find it.
No, I couldn't find it. No, I absolutely could not. And I questioned the same thing, was why was it? So, but that had to have been the scenario, that 524 at some point in time had to have been with one of those lots.
So lot number 1, I see driveway off Bond Street. How does access to parcel number 2 get there? Is there gonna, are they gonna
Well,
share?
parcel number, excuse me?
Are they sharing that driveway coming up to parcel 1?
Well, no, right now there is no driveway to parcel 1. That's a lawn area, but if they wanted to provide vehicular access, they do have room to do so. Parcel 2, you'll see there's the existing garage,
Oh,
and
it's
it
right-
has 66 feet of frontage.
Yeah, but that,
So
so the
the-
garage, so the access is right off Bond Street. The garage is,
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the
So
same,
so
and the
so there are
same
garage
thing,
doors,
the same thing with parcel
Garage-
3 that says garage. That's how they've got their access.
exactly. And there are actually, so there is a set of steps that runs in between parcel 2 and parcel 3, which will be shared for all 3 properties to be able to access. And then there's also another set of stairs in between the existing 3-family and the garage on parcel 2 as well.
And that's where the condition of no fences will come in to
Exactly.
avoid any issues.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Members of the board, questions? Dan? John?
No.
Jim?
Now, just one thing in your consideration, I would think we could allow fencing on the far side of parcel 1, so that either of those houses that are in front of it can have a divider. I don't think we want to have or restrict that.
Between parcel 1 and parcel 2 and 3?
No, between parcel 1 and the houses on Eastern
Oh,
Avenue.
the 510 and 518 along that,
Yeah.
along, what is it, the westerly boundary? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might want a border between those.
Okay.
Jim,
Or
normally
they-
what
They
we.
may have the option of doing it.
Normally, what we do with that condition is related to any new interior lot lines that we're
Yeah.
creating. So any perimeter lot line would still be able to put up a fence, yes.
Okay, I just don't want the wording to
No.
prevent that.
Sure,
So if we use.
I appreciate that.
So Dan, if we use interior lot line as the condition, everyone will understand what that means.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. So we asked everyone, is there anyone here in favor of this petition? Is there anyone here opposed to this petition? Okay, so it's a special permit request under 86-423. The zoning board has to find that the division is made in a way to maximize the use of the proposed lots, specifically access, parking, and yard area. So can I get a motion, if that's what we want to do, because they can get a special permit to divide the property? And I think Dan said these were created prior to 1954. I heard that at his beginning.
That is correct.
So he meets that criteria. So under 86-423, do I have a motion that the board is finding that the division of these particular lots is made in a way to maximize the use of the proposed lots, specifically access, parking, and yard area? Either that or we say we don't and it gets denied.
I'll make a motion that it's not detrimental.
Okay, it's not detrimental, but you're also making a finding that this division is made to maximize the use of the proposed lots, specifically access, parking, and yard area, and you don't find it detrimental to the area, is that correct? To the neighborhood? All right.
Yes.
And did I hear your condition also have that no new interior fences should be put up between the boundaries?
Yeah, separate the utilities.
Separate
no-
utility, okay,
Yeah, no fences on the created lot lines.
Okay.
Interior lot lines.
interior lot lines, and the affidavit to be recorded at the registry of deeds within 1 year or before the sale.
Also, the access that's there right now,
Yes?
It remains access to all three properties.
Okay,
They said that they use that's what Dan had said, that they use the access now, because if that's denied to that back 524, it's going to incur a great expense.
That's correct, because right now, 524 is access through that set of stairs and sidewalk that is in between 2 and 3. We have provided them with additional access if they wanted to create their own out to barns, but that would need to be constructed, so they could continue to use what's running down that lot line. You are correct.
okay. So no hindrance of access.
Yes,
Okay.
Correct.
And that's your motion and those are your conditions?
yes.
Okay. Do I have a second on Dan's motion?
Second.
Dan, John Frank, Dan's motion seconded by John Frank. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Dan Dupere,
Yes.
John Frank.
John Frank.
Yes, that's affirmative.
That's affirmative.
Jim Corkins.
Yes.
Carolyn Morissette.
Yes.
Yes. Chairman Assad, yes. Am I missing? Oh, you're holding the mic. Okay, so that petition is granted with those conditions.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your holiday.
Thanks, Dan. Let me see. That's agenda item number 6 is off. Do we have any citizen input? Anyone, is that Patrick?
Yes, I do have a
Citizen
comment.
input.
Citizens input, Patrick Higgins, 1197 Robertson Street.
You are here.
I have the occasion to watch 2 zoning board of appeals meetings tonight. One is yours and one is Somerset. You have gone through 5 items in about an hour and a half, and Somerset is still on item number 1. So I do want to compliment your board, give you a lot of kudos and praise, because you guys do your job and do it efficiently and well, and just keep up the good work.
Thank you, Patrick. Is there anyone else for citizen input? How come you, excuse me, Patrick, how come you are here? I thought you were in Louisiana or something.
I'm back. I'm going to be working in Rockland.
Okay.
So
So,
yes, I am back.
nice to see you. Approval of minutes. Brittany tells me that due to coronavirus 19, we do not have minutes for August 20th or September 17th, but I think she's working on them and they should be ready for the next meeting, if not sooner, though we can't approve them. So we also have on the agenda the approval of the 2021 meeting schedule. I think we all got them. If you want, I'll read them in for deadlines and meeting dates. So the 2021 proposed meeting schedule deadline date for the January 21st, 2021 meeting would be December 14th. The February 18th, 2021 meeting, the deadline for filing would be January 14th, 2021. The March 18th, 2021 meeting would be February 16th, 2021. Then we have a meeting on April 15th, 2021, tax day. I'm sure everybody's going to be happy to be here that night. March 15th, 2021 would be the deadline for filing. The next one would be May 20th, 2021. The deadline for filing, April 14th, 2021. The meeting date of June 17th, 2021, with the filing deadline of May 14th. The next one would be July 15th, 2021, meeting date. Deadline date for filing, June 14th, 2021. Meeting date of August 19th, 2021, with the deadline for filing, July 14th, 2021. The next meeting date would be September 16th, with the deadline date of August 16th. Meeting date of October 21st. Deadline date for filing, September 14th. Meeting of December 18th. And the deadline date for filing, October 14th. The last meeting of 2021 would be December 16th. And the November 15th would be the filing date. Do you want me to read the important info, or that's okay? That stays the same. Decisions are ready approximately 5 weeks after the meeting date. Variance applications may be submitted until noon on the 20th of the month for an additional $125. So that's the 2021 schedule. I don't know whether you've all got your calendars out, but can I get a motion to approve those dates for hearing?
I have an objection of holding a meeting on my birthday.
And what day is that, Jim?
I'm not gonna say, but, but we'll let it go.
Throw the whole schedule out.
We'll find out, okay. So do I have a motion to grant, or a motion to approve the 2021 meeting schedule?
Move approval.
That, who is that?
Jim?
Jim. Okay, birthday boy, Jim says yes. Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Second, John Frank. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Jim Corkins.
Yes.
John Frank.
Yes.
Dan Dupere.
Yes.
Carolyn Morissette.
Yes.
Assad, yes. Okay, so that takes care of that. Can I get approval? We got that adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Dan Dupere.
Yes.
John Frank.
Yes.
Jim Corkins.
Yes.
Carolyn Morissette.
Yes.
David Assad, yes. The November 19, 2020 meeting for the Zoning Board of Appeal is hereby closed. Thank you all for your attendance.
Happy holiday.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
You too.
Have a great one.
Stay
Thank you.
safe, please.